Okay, good evening, everyone. Sorry about last week. Did you miss me? Uh, we had a busy, crazy weekend. So I was planning on having a live stream, as many of you probably noticed. We did post the normals, but then we had to end up canceling it. I do apologize for that. I did miss you all. I do actually look forward to these live streams. So sorry that that got missed. Um, see, GK, good to see you. Angela, welcome. Jade, good to see you. Uh, Loveless, evening. Angela, I am doing well, Angela. I really am. Dragon of the West, welcome. So, it has been a very busy week, even going past Sunday there, which we missed that stream, and I do apologize. Hey, Mario, happy eclipse to you too. If you're celebrating it, enjoying it, or doing anything for it. Uh, No, no, it wasn't. It wasn't messing with you. No, no. YouTube's in the clear here. We just had some issues. I tried to post it everywhere that we posted it. Even the Facebook channel. I think I even posted it in the community tab because the community tab don't always give notifications, but sometimes it does. So I was kind of hoping that would work. And I know I posted it in the Gilded community. So I tried to get the notifications out as best I could. And I did make sure to update the start time and date. So if you did click onto the video link, it should have, in theory, told you when that was. In theory. Um, I know sometimes that stuff doesn't always work too well. So I tried. Oh, we do have some obligatory announcements we got to get to. First off, some of you have already gotten a sneak peek of this, which we have redone the clip. But we are going to add a slight little comical add on to the Working Dragon Mystic community that you will see in about a month or two, I think, in the video logs, because some of the videos were already edited, so we can't add it into those without going back and redoing it. And hopefully, you all enjoy that. It's actually, I got one of our admin to help me. He does some voice acting or wants to get into some voice acting and asked if I could leverage his skill set for a little thing to help me do the announcements on the videos because many of you all point out I'm not good at it. Mainly because I don't remember it well. You guys do a good job when I remember it, but I'm just not really good at remembering it. And I've tried putting bullet points for when I do the videos. You would think that would work, but somehow I get to rambling and talking and I don't really follow my notes very well, so I miss it. So this is a nice little way to make sure that information is going to be in there in the near future. So hopefully it works, and hopefully it's more entertaining than just me reading off a list of a bunch of stuff. Um, that said, I am supposed to remind you all we do have the YouTube memberships now. If you want to sign up, many of you probably saw Jade's name has that big bright red marker up there. So she's been a channel member supporter for some time. It comes with different levels of perks. You get emojis that you can use here in the live stream, those kinds of things. We also have now, apparently, a super thanks. When you're watching a video, you'll see something say super thanks or thanks. It's just something YouTube added recently that apparently you can click that and say, hey, here's $1. Thanks for creating your content. Yeah, okay, interesting. Of course, I'm the person that I'm surprised you guys support me to begin with, so I appreciate it all the same, but I figured I should tell you that's there. Oh, we do have super chats, of course. I got told I forgot this in a live stream or two. We do have super chats. As it gets busy or something, you have a question, you can use that to make sure it flashes up big and bright on the screen, and I'll see that. Or if you just want to donate to the work we're doing. I do have a list for this stuff. Also, do check out our online school. If you haven't, go to workingdragonmystic.com. We have online courses. Currently, there's meditation, Dragon Magic 101, 102. There's a tarot class, and there's actually a free arcane sight class that helps you with arcane sight, and those lessons can be tweaked with the other arcane senses. We do have a gilded community, which I've already mentioned, but if you are interested in the gilded community, go to the About section. You'll find a link for gilded. It's kind of like Discord, only it didn't kick us off of it. And you can sign up there and join in some random chats and ask questions. Don't forget to hit the like button. That little thumbs up here at the bottom of the live stream, you know that thing? It lets YouTube know you like the videos, you like the work we're doing. It helps the algorithm show it to more people, that kind of stuff. Oh, and there's Jade. She just dropped the link to the gilded community. Awesome. Thank you, Jade. Big help there. What am I forgetting? Big announcement. So I am currently working on, and the gilded community knows this already, attempting to set up at Working Dragon Mystic online school. I am trying to set up group workshops / classes. These are classes where I'm looking at using Zoom currently. It seems to be the best software for this. And where I would do an hour or two workshop where I would go through the presentation and the topic, and then we would do a live interactive Q&A, which would allow you all that ability to talk to me, ask questions, and have a conversation. It would be in a group classroom environment. We're currently considering 10 to 20. And I know a lot of people know that I used to do workshops in the past in person, and I just can't do it anymore, and I can't get to as many people as we'd like. This may be a way to do that. We are still, I know when I used to do the workshops, I think the cost per seat was anywhere from $20 to $25 a seat. I don't want to go near that. I'm actually looking at attempting to do these workshops maybe 2 or 3 a month, but we are wanting to do the seats at, I'm hoping to be able to get it down as far as 10 or 15 if we can get enough interest in it, just to cover my cost of the software and stuff like that in time. I think that would be pretty productive in being able to do this. Currently, my thoughts are to approach a lot of the workshops around the arcane pillars, evocation, journey work, divinations, meditations. Though I would also like to weave in there maybe some topics on cryptids and stuff like that, workshops that I used to do, some of the fun ones. Not just the kind of mini class introduction kind of concepts, even though even in those we answer a lot of the advanced questions. And the setup I'm wanting to do is, even if you've gone to one of the workshops, if you go to the same workshop again, you can continue to ask me questions, and hopefully that live interaction can also help you progress your personal practice. So we are still working out some of the nuts and bolts, but we are very close, and we think we're going to have it up soonish. So fingers crossed, because that is something we are definitely working on. Okay. So there we go. I believe that's my list. So yay, list done. All right, let's see where we're at here. Jade posted the gilded link. What's this one that just popped up? I've been in attending Zoom rituals, workshops about that many, and it's been a good experience. And thank you so much for keeping your content affordable. No problem, Loveless. That was my goal when I set this up. Everything I do, I'm dedicated to keeping it affordable. I truly believe that is key. It actually irks me when I see people charging $400, $500, $1,300, $3,000 for rituals or books or God knows what else. Okay, got that. What's this? Posted some moth encounters and was having in questions. I turned my head half an hour ago to find one sitting on my shoulder. It's not Miller moth season. Honestly, Angela, when it comes to stuff like that, my go-to book is Animal Speak. I love that book for getting keywords, not detail, just keywords. which they usually, some of the animals in there, they write a good long explanation on history, mythology, and stuff like that, but not all of them. But I do love that one. And I would just look up moths in general, get your keywords, and go meditate on it. And that usually leads you to, if it is some kind of sign, if it is some kind of a message, meditating on those keywords usually really gets you into where you need to be. That has honestly served me throughout my career. Um, I think Animal Speak's one of the books in the links below my videos. If it isn't, it should be. Uh, but it is an amazing book. Hey, sorry, good to see you. GK, you're okay with the way things are, but it's what? No, we're still doing these live streams. These live streams aren't going nowhere. The group class things would not change these live streams at all. The normal YouTube content, the live streams, this is all free content that I'm putting out there to try and help as many people as I can. The school undoubtedly allows me to go deeper and do more, and I'm always trying to find ways to expand that, so I can get beyond certain limitations. Honestly, I'd love to be able to get things to the point where the school brings in enough that we could just turn monetization off here on YouTube just to um, avoid that possibility. Because if you can turn that off, well, you're not dancing around so many lines. But right now, we got to keep the lights on somehow. So. I will say this, GK. I will be posting a calendar of which ones will be available when, and let's say it's a divinations workshop. It's going to be a 1-day workshop, but divinations is going to come back around. It's not like it's going to be a one-time only thing. So you can definitely plan in advance if there's one you want. Now, any of the workshops I do, if it shows up, you're interested in it and you can't make it, let me know and I'll make sure to put it on the calendar in the near future so you can save up. Like I said, these workshops, we're wanting to keep them very affordable. We're talking $10 or $15 max is where I'm wanting to start it. Because I crunched the numbers and I honestly think with $10 or $15, I could cover my yearly expenses for doing them. Don't know a profit, but I can cover my expenses. I feel comfortable with that. So I'm willing to eat the cost for 1 year's worth to experiment with it. So anytime I do something like this, I assume whatever my yearly expense for this would be, I'm eating it. So if I break even, amazing. We'll keep doing it. But we're getting close to getting to the point where we can start up and test it. Okay. So it's not going to be like a one-time thing. Like I said, we will be putting them on a calendar. We will be announcing it, and I'll show that way you can sign up because the seats are also going to be limited. Because if I only have 10 or 20 seats available in the workshop, I've got 10,000 subscribers on here. I got people emailing me daily. I know I'm not going to be able to do catch everyone in one class. That'd be amazing. But there's no way I'd be able to answer the questions. And the whole point here is to be able to answer these questions in an environment where we can get that live chat, that dedication, and attempt to be able to do it without quite as many censorship issues that sometimes, let's be honest, occult questions get a little weird and get way past the YouTube general guidelines. So that's kind of the hope there. Yeah, fixed incomes they're tricky. They're tricky. I've lived them, believe me. So I'm a big believer in trying to make things as affordable as possible. Well, I'll be honest. many of my entities don't usually use spiders, but there was a point in my life where they decided to use spiders as a communication route. And just so y'all know, I'm arachnophobic, which was something I had to overcome. So I run into a spider outside. I'm generally okay. If it's in my house, though, I'm going to kill it. Spiders aren't allowed in my house. We do no spiders. But just because they've never done it before doesn't mean they won't start doing it now. And sometimes it's not an entity even sending it. A lot of times when we're talking about animal speak or signs or messages, the universe itself can utilize these animal messages without an entity being involved. That's also something you got to remember. It's not always an entity. Let's see. Say, hey Drake, how good is Mercury? Manifesting desires. If you have experience on that, I'll be honest with you, Mario. When it comes to Mercury retrograde, I don't pay it no mind. Mercury retrograde, in all honesty, you can utilize its energy just as you could any other energy. The simple fact is, from a magician's standpoint, if you're actually in charge of the energy in your life, where the stars, the moon, the sun are positioned shouldn't affect you. If you check out my video on Mercury retrograde, actually, would be a great place to start, because that video's primary focus is to show how I utilize energy and shape it daily, so that all these weird events that people want to freak out about and or blame on just them being assholes. Because let's be honest, around Mercury retrograde in the occult community, how many people hear, "Oh, it's not my fault, it's Mercury retrograde. Oh, it's not my fault. I can't stand them." Anywho, that aside, but check out that video and it will show you how I take that energy and I shape it and direct it to whatever I'm working on and manifesting. That exact ritual, Mario, could be utilized during Mercury retrograde to manifest and direct your life the same way I use it. And you can even utilize it daily. Big perk. It also will keep you from self-cursing yourself during Mercury retrograde, because 99% of the time, people who have bad luck during Mercury retrograde, it's because they're already worried about it and they're pretty much bringing that energy into their life and manifesting it on themselves. Kind of sucks. So I would check out that video. Okay, appreciated it. That one got deleted. Trying to catch up here. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. Hey, long time no see. Can you explain why I keep seeing 111? Well, first off, numerology is not really one of my strong points. I'm not a big believer in it in a lot of cases. And part of that is our brains are actually predisposed to pick patterns. We will find patterns. This is actually the reason we see faces in toast. It's a random just blur, but our brains want to see a pattern. And then when somebody points out the pattern, we see it even more so. And when you start seeing the same number repeated over and over and you notice it, then you start seeing it more and more, because now your brain is looking for that pattern. First, it picks up the pattern at random, and then it just starts, once you recognize the pattern, it just keeps seeing it. Now, that aside, again, numerology is not my thing, but if you wanted to do a quick search on that, you could probably find out what those numbers mean, and whether or not you wish to put any value in that would be your personal preference. Me, myself, I find numerology fun, but I don't put stock in it, if that makes sense. Let's see. Maybe it's trying to help me get over my phobias. Did more symbolism in my research. Transformation of death. It's very possible. And transformation of death also represents a change in your life. It doesn't mean like death as in dead 6 feet under. It means as something is coming to an end. There's a transformation into a new beginning. So that's actually a pretty cool thing, really, if you think about it. Let's see, Loveless. For instance, you mentioned meditation as one that people have a lot of questions about. Are these mean to be a way to reach people in a more dedicated environment, and some topics may repeat? Yes, yes, it is. My ideal for starting up is to have essentially a presentation to get us started, which is one reason I like the Zoom, because it actually gives me the ability to mute people and unmute people depending on, like who you're talking to in the audience, as it were. But I could do a general presentation for the first part of the class, and then open it up to a Q&A. And in the case of meditation specifically, I'd probably do at least one group meditation while we're there from one of the different categories of meditation. And this would allow me to vary it every time, so we can do some guided meditations, some um, verbal meditations, focused meditations. We can discuss passive meditations. Let's be honest, a live video class of passive meditation, that's got to be the most boring thing on the planet. That's literally the definition of sit down, stare at your computer, shut up, don't think about a thing, let's not say anything. I don't think I'm good looking enough to pull that up off in a class, let's be honest. Don't think no one wants to stare at me for doing literally nothing. But then the Q&A, we would definitely talk about this, and in cases of questions, I would even give, theoretically, a short example of how it could actually be applied, because we do have that live chat, that face-to-face, that more direct ability to communicate. I think that would definitely help in ways that, as many of you noticed, I communicate better verbally and using practical examples than I do in text. Anyone who's seen me typing Gilded knows it's God help us. So I think that would be a far better way, and it would also allow a bit more of a back and forth to help really solve the issues. That's my hope. So yeah, Loveless, that would be correct. If I want to connect with an entity, do I have to visualize how the entity? I actually, personally, Dragon of the West, I actually advise against visualizing what you think the entity should look like. I use something that my teachers taught me called structuring, where essentially I would give a general shape. So, like for an entity that should have a humanoid shape, it would be a formless, colorless humanoid. Almost think of like if you just took some black or red clay and just shaped a little human figure that has no details to it at all. And then during the invocation, I'd let the entity fill in the details itself. Um, that's what I would utilize. I actually advise against filling in the details. This way, it gives you a bit better connection, in my personal opinion. There are people who will say visualize it yourself, and you could. And some people do get really good results out of that. It's not my preferred method. Let's see, Mario, thanks. I never use curse words since I know words or spells. Thanks for that. Which one am I getting thanked for, Mario? Okay. I know what you're saying. Okay, no worries. As words can be spells, but words can also just be words. So, uh, let well, you could throw me amongst any of the military class, and I can probably outcuss them, to be honest with you. Uh, but I also admire those who don't. So it's no biggie. Loveless, thank you. I've been saying that about patterns for years. You see, this is why I get in trouble in the occult community, because I do study actual science and how we work biologically, because I truly believe that's one of the reasons I don't use a pendulum or anything, is because of the ideomotor response. But our ability to understand patterns, I think a magician truly needs to understand that, because, well, let's be honest. We got people who are like saying prayers to a freaking piece of toast because they think they saw baby Jesus in it, or they saw Elvis in it, or any of these other divine figures they think they saw in a piece of toast. Yeah, I mean, when we understand the brain notices patterns, it starts to make a bit more sense. But yeah, those are things we do have to take to account. Now, that's not to say faith and everything I have a full problem. It's not for me. I've said that. But for some people, it's a very helpful thing and helps them get through. Let's see. Change positive in my life, doing lots of things. Well, it sounds like those moths may be telling you that change is coming, Angela. Nubis, hey, good to see you. New background. Actually, Nubis, this is the first time this background's been back there. But you are correct. We did indeed find a new background. I came across this and I fell in love with it. And I was just like, ooh, I got to do that. Because many of you who saw the older videos and the older stream, you remember my upstairs office. I had the bookshelves behind me. I really liked that. Not practical for what I was doing, but everything it worked at the time. So this just kind of little nostalgia, little fitting, I think. So we got this one, and I'll try and make sure it's up for next week. We have one that looks like a old tavern stone hearth kind of deal going on. I really thought that one was cool too. So the geek in me just had to buy them. Yeah, totally. And it counts as a business expense, so that was handy. But good to see you, Davis. I'll be honest with you. I love anytime I get a chance to talk with Jesus as an entity. I really do. Um, I know that freaks a lot of people out, but I really do. And I would be lying if most times I see him, I asked if he got lost again. And he's finally caught on to the joke because it's like, growing up in the South, I've been asked a lot if have you found Jesus, and it's like, what, have you lost him again? Uh, I'm a smart aleck. I can't help it. It's what I do. But I have a lot of dear friends who are Christians. I really do. When trying to connect with the entity that rule over one of the cardinal points to visualize colors, the cardinal point really doesn't matter in evocation as a standard unless you're following a specific tradition. You can literally evoke from any direction. Um, if I'm out in the woods and I want to do a ritual or something, unless I happen to have a compass handy, I'll just do the ritual in whatever way the landscape makes it best. I don't follow the cardinal points in most cases. I really do not. And actually, last time I followed the cardinal points, the ritual didn't work as well, which is a little weird for me. But it's more of a tradition thing than a requirement thing. Because I don't know if anybody knows this, but when we're talking on a multiversal level and these entities that aren't bound to the physical plane, magnetic north don't mean squat to them. Neither does east west or south. Glad everybody's liking the new background. Happy about that. That makes me smile because I was really happy about that. I meant to mention it earlier and I forgot because of everything else, the questions we got started. So, hey. Oh, for those interested, we do have coffee cups available and we are looking at adding a few new ones. And somebody asked about ball caps. I don't know if we can do ball caps. We'll look into it. I think we can do ball caps. I think we can. But I will look into it. And I've actually considered getting me a ball. I have a ball cap around here. I usually use it when I'm mowing. I know my wife don't like when I wear it. She's like, I put it on. She's like, you look weird. Don't wear that. She's not used to seeing me in it. But if we are able to do ball caps, I'll try and get a hold of one, at least for me when I'm doing yard work or something, and at least be able to show it off to y'all. It'd be really cool if we could get something like this in the shop, but I know that ain't happening. Let's see. Two patterns. You are funny and quite refreshing in so many ways, Drake. I want to learn more about your moths. I've always wondered. Definitely a lunar thing. Er, well, I'm glad y'all find me entertaining. I try to put a smile on people's face. Oh, you can't claim magic on it. I wish. Oh God, do I wish. But a physical expense that because this is literally my office. This is literally a background. This is literally what I do. I'm working Dragon Mystic files taxes, so technically it's a business expense. Um, in fact, when doing research or something, I often there's many times it comes from business. So yeah, I can do things like that. Um, let's see. And apparently there's skateboarding outside. If y'all hear that, I apologize. Have you ever heard of someone creating unconsciously different entities to somehow assist the main body through an event during their life? Like perhaps I call it a spirit guide. I had a reading and got that. Yeah, actually, they're called thought forms, Anubis. That is the technical term for them, or the agreed upon term for them. And essentially, it happens quite often, actually. So you will see this in sometimes imaginary friends. Sometimes imaginary friends are actually entities that the kids can see, but we as adults also have it. But yeah, it's very, very common actually for a thought form to be created from a event in one's life that is highly emotionally charged or mentally charged, and or built upon a worry or something that will help with that. So, like, I've known individuals who were very, 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 very ill, and their main focus was on getting better so much that they accidentally created a thought form that, um, as a magician, if you examine the thought form and you figure out the energy pattern, this thing was helping heal them. Which the creation of it's showing up around the house, kind of scared the person because they thought it was a ghost, but it was actually assisting in healing them, and it was just a thought form. The same thing can be done with protection or other things. Now, this is sometimes positive where it's assisting, and sometimes these thought forms, since they're created unintentionally, actually become the manifestation of your fear. And you'll actually see this in a lot of hauntings where someone's afraid of the house and they think it's haunting and it starts ramping up. Well, it starts ramping up because they create a thought form, and the thought form actually starts haunting the house in the way that you were worried about. It starts creating it. Uh, so it can work both ways. Good news, thought forms are easy to get rid of. Very easy. Um, the weakest blessed water sprayed around the house will get rid of them. A simple cleansing ritual of any kind, like the lesser banishing ritual, you don't even have to be good at it. Boom, gone. Um, Prayers of banishing, boom, gone. Thought forms are easy to get rid of if you need to. That's the good news. But yes, it is possible. And yes, I have heard of it quite a bit actually. And we jumped. Crap. No, these entities are not bound by our perception of their attributes at all. In fact, one of the things that gets magicians in trouble is attempting to put an entity in a box. Um, so, no, they are not bound by it. Um, they will occasionally, if you have a preconceived notion, they may utilize that to try and help them make the connection easier. The problem with that is your preconceived notions also begins to taint your data on the success of the operation. But they are in no shape, form, or fashion bound. When you hear about binding these entities and demons, that's, well, hogwash. Um, they're free will. They have a great deal of free will, and they're not in any danger from us. Let's see if I was Jade, am I forgetting anything? Have I actually officially, for once, perhaps, maybe, gotten to all the announcements? Did I actually achieve that this time? Maybe. If you're still lurking around out there somewhere. Let's see here. I think so. Hot dang! Look at that. Look at people. I think I actually got them all. Have stuffed animals I found in a closet inhabited by a spirit that only later realized was a former roommates who talked about creating thought form spirits for their systems. Little. No, that makes sense. I know a lot of people who use stuffed animals and the likes for servitors and thought forms. I actually do find it to work better for servitors than thought forms because they're a bit more sturdy in most cases. Um, but yeah, I mean that I know a lot of people who use them. My main thing, I love the concept of them, but at the same time, it's like my house is too cluttered already. I'm trying to throw things away weekly. It's so bad. My wife's looked at me and said, "Look, I know I like to keep things, so tell you what, just throw it away and don't tell me." Deal, we're done. So I'm sneaking things into the trash on a regular basis, especially with us possibly having to move in the next few months or something. I want to get as much out in the garbage as I can. But yeah, it's so when it comes to my practice, the last thing I want to do is bring things in, and I use so many servitors and stuff. I don't like to do that. My preferred method for a servitor is actually notebook paper because you're supposed to attach it to an object of some kind. So I use each page of paper for a servitor that as its object. That way I have a single notebook of all my active servitors that's going with all the different details and everything I need. Don't need to worry about it. And I can keep that nice, neat, and simple, compact. Um, I'm a very simple practitioner in most cases. I try to not overdo it. Um, I do have a lot of ceramic skulls that I had a few as decorations. Friends got them for me as decorations. Again, if you think back to the bookshelf behind me in the older videos, um, a lot of those decorations were on that as gifts. Um, so yeah, so some things like those I do try to keep. Actually, I have a decanter just over here that my daughter got me. So it's like it's really cool. I may actually have to get this thing and show it off sometime. It's a globe, kind of tilted globe with it actually has the map on it. Inside's a little pirate ship. Really cool decanter. Let's see. Okay, if you're asking like when you say physical laws, are you saying can they pick this up and float it around, woo, or punch me in the face? No. Um, a servitor or something functions off of an energy pattern and directs energy to help manifest. It's almost like a intelligent energy spell. So you're not going to be able to see it floating things around and moving things or doing dishes for you. God knows I wish it could, because if it did, I'd have me a little maid service of servitors keeping my house clean, and that would solve all my problems. That really seriously would. Oh my God. Um, but no, they can still affect the physical by helping heal things. So a servitor who is designed to protect you may alert you to a danger and help to guide you away from a particular street or alleyway that you probably shouldn't go down, and or just manipulate events so that where you might have been, you aren't. All magic works in very, very subtle ways. One of the things the magician has to do is listen. If you have a protective servitor in action and it alerts you in whatever way you've set up and how you've said it, and you don't listen, well, that's on you. But a protective servitor, for example, it's not going to stop a bullet. It can help to keep you from being in that situation, but even magic can't fix stupid, unfortunately. Oh yeah, the notebook trick. I think I mentioned it in the servitor video I did. I hope I did. I'm actually wanting to do a workshop on servitors. That is one of the things I want to do a workshop on. I will probably make sure the arcane pillars and meditation, of course, being foundational core, honestly, of magic, as I've said many times, will definitely probably be the main ones that we rotate through. But the other workshops, I'm definitely wanting to get more focused on topics like servitors, cryptids, and things like that from time to time. Even spellcraft. I know I used to do um, a workshop on journaling and research, which was a really fun one, actually. So yeah, well, little things like that. And yes, the maid service. I swear to God, if I could get servitors to work as a freaking maid service, see, I almost said something there that YouTube would flag me for. Oh yeah, that would be like the first thing ever. Seriously, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Many of you know that, okay? I'm not. However, watching some of the first movies, I'd say it has to be within the first three. My wife got so upset at them, she didn't watch them after the third movie. She liked the books better. But I remember seeing in one of those movies, you walk in the house and the dishes, the rags are washing the dishes and you got the spells cleaning the house. And that, to me, that was the coolest stuff on the planet. I don't want any of this other big explosive stuff. I want to be able to just bippity boppity house clean. That's what I want. That is the spell. That is the fantasy spell I want. Bippity boppity house clean. Um, Seriously, if you could give me a fantasy spell, that would probably be the one I ask for because I hate cleaning. I don't like a messy house, but I hate cleaning. Really seems to be unfair because my mom loves to clean and she is a neat freak and she don't like a messy house. But me, I don't like the messy house, but I do not like to clean. So she got the best of both worlds. I just got screwed. So yeah, well, living, moving on. Are there other ways to know your workshop? At this point in time, I do not currently have a place where I will be posting it yet, Violet Star. I am going to attempt to post the calendars about a month in advance in the community tab. I'm going to be posting it on the gilded calendar. We're going to have a public gilded calendar, which I think we already do. And the workshops should be also posted there. And we will try to do regular announcements here. So my goal is to have at least a month in advance so people can sign up. It's not like it's going to be, hey, tomorrow we're doing this, or hey, next week. I'm wanting to try and give a month in advance so people can plan their finances because I know finances are tight. Finances can be tricky. So I want to be able to plan that and make sure we can get as many people signed up as we can. So that's kind of my hope here. That's what I'm shooting for starting out. If we need to go further out, maybe do 2 months in advance, I'll try to do that. But that is ultimately my goal there. Violet Star, hope that helps a little bit. That is what I love about you. I am a simple human as well. I love the paper servitor. Awesome. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what my generation was always taught. I'm a practical man. Or a practical idiot at the very least. Yeah, journaling and research. That is actually one of the ones I am wanting to do because let's be honest. I've said it a million times already on this channel, probably. Your most important magical tool in your career will be your magical journal. And your own private research and knowing how to compile that data, I think, builds right into that. Which, okay, this might be a little preconceived, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it. Myself, one of the admin, actually, it's a couple of the admin, and a few friends have been discussing the concept. Many of you heard me talk about these research groups I'm in and everything. And a lot of them, I've been trying to find out if I could share their information, how you could join them. They're not too keen on letting in new people. And one of these old coots actually threw a comment at me, and I really didn't have a retaliation. He's like, you want people to start doing research and everything? He's like, start a research group. Well, why not? So that is a background project. I have no timeline on it, but we are looking at actually potentially starting a group specifically focused on arcane research where we help people to understand ways to do research, and we're going to be sharing research and comparing notes, and even something that would allow us to, this spell or this ritual has yielded this results for me. Would you care to be a secondary tester for me? Yes. That kind of thing. It is not a coven. I do not give any credit to magical lineages. I really don't. Every person I have met who has stuck their nose in the air, boasted about magical lineage, their ability, craft, and dedication was next to nil. And the ones that actually had any real ability, it wasn't due to their lineage, it was due to their actual practice, application, and dedication. And they were on par with people who had never had any magical lineage at all, but had the same dedication. So, yeah, I don't give magical lineage any credit at all. If anything, over my years, it's a gold star for some pompous, egotistical nut job to claim some kind of props and prestige that probably they don't even deserve. And that is one of the biggest problems in the occult community. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what your degree is. I don't care what your tradition is. You come at me with some kind of ego or attitude, I'm probably going to laugh at you, to be honest with you. It's just that simple. And I'll be honest, most of these people who claim these things couldn't manifest a wet paper bag, which is kind of sad. It's kind of the same thing of like anytime you go to an occult event, there's like 12 reincarnations of freaking Merlin. Yeah, right. These are people who clearly have not done ego work. As to covens, covens are groups, just like anything else. A coven is, any group is a group. You call it a church, you call it a coven, you call it a club, it doesn't matter. I'm wary of covens because most covens do get to the almost zealotry control thing. I much prefer private practice. For many people, covens work great. They're just not my bag personally. I know one of my teachers, she's in a couple covens, though she really only celebrates the holidays with them. Outside that, she doesn't do anything with them. She's a solo practitioner, and that's pretty kind of thing there. Am I mistaken, or was I not referred to a magical? Am I mistaken, or was it not referred to as lineage? Like I remember you speaking of the Valentine thing. I remember. Oh, okay. So the Valentine family is not a magical lineage. Some of us practice magic, some of us don't. So yeah, that's not a magical lineage at all. In fact, every member of the Valentines kind of has the same opinion of lineages. Now, if you're talking about an initiatory practice similar to like voodoo, that's different than a magical lineage. That would be where you need to be initiated into that voodoo line. But then again, we're talking about a tradition and its specific practice and teachings. So I do think those should be respected for many different reasons. But that's different than a magical lineage. That is a way that it has been used more recently, Milton. However, there are people who the main use of it over the years has been bloodline, as in they're talking about the genetic lineage, quite literally. Let's see. What? Tell me again what brought you to your path. Were you small? I think one of my biggest problems in life is I never was small. I was always tall and hitting my head on something. So, I mean, my path, it's been a tricky one, because many of you know, I grew up, I went to church. I taught in the church even. I was even a leader in the church for a while. But what I was looking for, I was having trouble reconciling science with faith. And a lot of the things that I was looking for in life that people told me my faith would help me to find, um, well, it didn't. It just simply didn't. And I did lose faith. But as someone who grew up around religion, I initially started looking for alternatives and started studying um, many different theologies, and trying out different things. One of the ones I did settle on at the early beginnings was Wicca. Um, but that was just where I started. And from there, I just kept studying and researching. And eventually, I realized religion and faith in general is not my bag. And my magic started to take a very science focused, results based path. Um, and I've always been direct when someone asks me to teach them. It's like I don't teach traditions like Wicca and stuff. I teach magic as a framework, and I come at it from a science. Now you can take that framework and you can apply it to a spirituality. You can apply it to a religion if you want. There's no harm there. But if you want to learn about a religion, I'm not the guy to do it. Um, which has been handy for me in the long run. I've got students that they've gone on to follow many paths, and I've taught from many paths. There are students I've had that were Wicca before they met me, because Christians, example. But I don't try to change their religion. As I've stated on here, religion can be a good thing for the right people. It's not my cup of tea. So, if that makes sense. I'd agree with you there. I mean, a list of students to teachers is pretty meaningless. And you're talking about the ceremonial magic lists within ceremonial magicians and orders and stuff like that. And you are correct about those. But again, those are a separate style of lineage. And traditionally, they actually have a different name. I just can't remember what it is right now. Who's the first entity you contacted, Drake, and what was your first experience like with it? I'll be honest, Angela, that's been such a long time ago. I don't know. I mean, technically, if you really want to say what the first entity I remember actually having a conversation with is, that's Jesus. Um, but I don't think that's the one you're asking about. So I'm not really sure. It's been so far back. It almost feels like it was perhaps my guardian dragon, but I can't be sure of that one either. Uh, if you go further back than that, then when I originally was studying Wicca, the particular tradition and practice I was following worshiped the god and goddess as the Lord and Lady. And the Lord and Lady, essentially every god and goddess was a manifestation and mask of the Lord and Lady in that particular tradition, is how they taught it. So my first connection past Jesus would have been speaking with the Lord and Lady in their guise of Lord and Lady, their unfaced, unshaped, raw persona. Um, which always felt hollow to me in a lot of ways. And that might be why it didn't jive too well with me. Um, and that's also, why I probably dove into studying other entities and whatnots. And I understand the value and the potential that, yes, every god and goddess is essentially, potentially, a mask or manifestation of a singular energy pattern, potentially. But in my experience and my research, I'm less inclined to believe it personally. But for many of people who follow those traditions and paths, it works really great. And it makes a lot of sense too, really. And most people actually are surprised that I don't follow that concept, where I tend to take a more scientific view of it. But it has been so long, and there's been so many wow factors. It's really hard to remember those things. I'm no legend, Anubis. I am no legend. I'm a crazy old Southerner who likes coffee. That's who I am. And I'll be honest and authentic, and, well, I'll tell you about my stupidities, and I'll tell you about my successes. Anthony, thank you for the super chat, mate. Mugs up. Have you found out who or what entity it was that told you about Dragon Magic? I love that story, how you couldn't find him or the security. Yeah, believe it or not, actually, one of my UPS friends messaged me on Facebook the other day. Apparently, he found my channel, and he remembered that event. He's like, have you told them about that? I was like, actually, yes. In one of the live streams, we do talk about that more than once, actually. He's like, that is some crazy shit. He's like, I still tell that story. But I have reached out, and I have had conversations with the Draconic rulers to find out who and what that was. I'm not sure I'm allowed to give a name, but I would say, yeah, I can do this. Let's say the Draconic rulers had a claw in it, is a fair way to say it. So their crafty little sneaky claws and everything, they had a hand in it. But yeah, I have actually, since you guys have asked me that a few times, because like I said, it really never registered with me until you guys started asking me about it, which is one reason I love these live streams. You guys ask me questions and things that I ain't thought about. And then, of course, that sends me down that little rabbit trail, and you know me and answers. Once I get a question in my head, I want to find an answer. So you guys actually inspire me to go down things, even on little things like that. And yeah, I searched that one out a little bit, and it was actually pretty cool to find out. And the reasons behind it aren't nearly quite as cool or epic as some people might think. The actual reason was that there was a severe imbalance and chaotic point in my life, which was taking place at that time. And the only reason for it was to help me try and find some balance. That was it. That was it. Which is a pretty cool reason, if you ask me. That you look down at this little nothing redneck and it's like, hey, he's having a rough time. Let's teach him a little bit about balance. So I am thankful for the knowledge. I am thankful for the lessons. I'm definitely thankful for the gift of the balance that they gave me. It really did change the course of my life. What are some of the markers that... That's a harder one to answer. One of my favorite ways to test the astral senses for an individual is via scrying upon a location in real time. And utilizing that to test the astral senses. Things that can be confirmed in the real world, things that you don't have knowledge of. And what I will usually do with a student is I will set up a scenario where they have to scry on it, or they will have to project, and they will have to interact with the real world in some shape, form, or fashion, like a liquid. I'll put 3 liquids out, 3 different temperatures. They can interact with them. They need to tell me what the liquid is. They need to tell me what the liquid smells like. They need to tell me if it's a liquid room temperature, hot or cold. And they'll have no idea what these liquids are, what color they are, what's in them, what temperatures. I'll also add in things like where is this located in this room, things that can easily be confirmed, and they have no knowledge of. It's kind of a blind test. That's literally what I do with my students, and that really that gives them a measurable data point of how well they're doing in their development. Now, does that mean that when I test them, they get it 100% every time? No. But it does tell them where they're at in a measuring point to give them a data point to work at and practice. And it shows which senses are more developed. And that data, which is really only useful to them, tells them what they can train on, how, and we can work on different exercises from there, or just continue the exercises they're doing. Okay, Jade's throwing clocks at me. It is 8 o'clock. So I am going to have to get off here. Let's see if I got anything here I can answer real fast. Okay. Thought forms are energy. As long as they're being fed energy, they can stick around and they can become a problem. In fact, most of your so-called hauntings are just out of control thought forms. But they're also very, very easy to get rid of. So, in fact, I've seen people destroy thought forms accidentally. Like I know a person who literally created a curative healing thought form, and then they just cleansed their house. Thought form was in the house. It ain't no more. I'm a stickler when it comes to results for my students. I can be a real ass of a teacher. Okay, everyone, I am going to say good night. It was so great to actually be able to see you all tonight. Well, chat with y'all tonight. I guess I didn't see you. Y'all saw me, though. Sorry about missing last week. I will be back next week. We'll see what's going on. I'll update you in what we've got going on. Hopefully, maybe we'll have some more news. I don't know. And I will try to show you all the other new background we got. Keep up your research, keep up your practices, keep up your meditation, and keep up those journals. Don't forget the journals. The journals are super, super, super important. Okay? And until next time, take care. Good night. Bye-bye.